Hello, hello, greetings everyone, and welcome to Random Encounters. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. That's just a show where I do improv cartooning to entertain you and entertain myself. Since I don't know how many of you are going to be out there, I'd better make sure I entertain myself first. Anyway, I'm Stan. I am a cartoonist and game designer and author, and hopefully you know at least some of that. And we are going to, as we usually do, use some random encounter tables, which is a artifact from tabletop role playing games. If you don't know that, I'm wondering how you got here, but uh, you'll see in a minute how that works. In fact, let me get to setting up my little stage here, and I can show you that the way that works is we have a set of tables here with choices 1 to 6. And I don't know what it's going to be. We're going to have one who and one what. And uh, when we after that's chosen, I'll draw it. And hopefully it will be fun and funny. My camera has shifted a little somehow. Okay, there we go. That's better. We will use dice. I have a die rolling app to choose these, um, make the choices on those tables, and fun will happen. And as goes along, I may well reach out to you in the audience for suggestions, the way you might get at an improv comedy club. Hey, that sounds like fun. It works for them. Works pretty well here too. Hi, Dale. Thanks for tuning in. Glad to see you. No more dilly dallying here. Let's get right into it. We will go back to that other view that you just saw a second ago, and we are going to decide what the first drawing of the day is going to be. And in order to do that, come over here, and we're going to come to our die roller. We're going to roll this die, and the way we do it once, twice, and third time is a charm. That would be a number 2, and we would use that. That, however, was an example. Doesn't count. Now we're going to go for it. Our first who. Our first who for the evening is once, twice, third time, 5. What's a 5? What's a 5 over here on this table? 5 is a myconid. Oh, I like myconids. Myconids, for those of you who don't know, are mushroom people. And they're a lot of fun. So I wonder what our myconid is going to be doing. Quick, let's find out. All right, here we go once again. Once, twice, and third time is a charm, and it's 4, our favorite number on these dice. 4, it says it's graduation day again. I'm glad I kept it on there. Myconid graduation day. Interesting. Well, let's not spend too much time thinking about it. Let's get right in here and start drawing it. As I said, myconids are mushroom people. Um, so let's see. Let's get a rough mushroom shape here. And I think I'm going to change that little size so I can put another myconid in here. Maybe with a different mushroom head. I thought about this as I was getting ready, that when I did it last week and we had graduation day, but I kept it in here because it's June. This is like a good theme for practically the entire month, and the terrible theme for most of the rest of the year. So may as well take advantage of it here. while um, it's topical. Um, okay, you give them gowns too. Sure, why not? And I'm gonna remember that I need to talk while I'm doing this. So yeah, so I like to do a little rough. I don't want to make it um, too complete because that takes the mystery out of it. Um, I have a gag in mind. We'll see how well that works. But let's get into finishing these drawings. Let's say I like to do a little bit um, of a sketch, uh, even though that's something of a I don't know. It kind of acts a little bit like a spoiler because you get to see what I'm thinking of before I draw it. But you don't get to see all of what I'm thinking of. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm just not quite. There's some cartoonists who are very good at going from just putting the line straight down. That is a particular skill that you know I'm not as good at. So why not play to my skills? Okay, so we got one myconid here. They're each going to be holding their diplomas proudly. That's how you know it's graduation day. Get a mushroom with a different cap, although they've also got, you know, this cap too. I was playing for a long time in a D&D campaign run by Chris Perkins, who is in charge of. Uh, he is the story master of Dungeons and Dragons currently at Wizards of the Coast, and he, besides just being a great dungeon master in general, was great at giving voices to all the characters. And his voice, he had a different basic accent for all the different kinds of creatures, like drow, which we looked at last week. I think it was last week, might have been the week before. They all had French accents, and they had very snooty French accents. Um, but he had this great voice for the mic, and it was a kind of clipped nasal back of the throat. They talk like a little bit like Droopy. Hello, Marianne. Thank you for joining us today. I caught you, Marianne. Does has a great channel about um, doing personal planning and life self care, which is informative, and I learned a lot about things I didn't know before about uh, different theories on planning and schools of planning that was fascinating. Anyway, you guys maybe want to check her out. Marianne, you can feel free to drop a link in the chat if you want to, or not if you don't. Um, that's all up to you. Um, okay, so we got a couple of myconids there. And some regular mushrooms too, because, you know, they grow up in fungal forests. Let's add in just a little bit of hint of background. And we're going to have this one guy saying, uh, I was voted most likely to spore, which, is a great thing for a mushroom person. All right, so take out the background lines. You drop the size of the um, pen down a little so I can add just a little more texture here and there, a few extra details. And hello, Marcus. It's late. I know it's late, Marcus. In fact, the show that Marianne was on earlier today was Marcus's show, and he does. I was honored to be a guest on Marcus's show a few weeks back. Another one that you should check out, Marcus. Feel free to drop a link in the chat if you want for your channel. Marcus interviews all kinds of creative people about the things they do, and it's fascinating stuff. A terrific show. Okay, so let's see. I think we want now, as I usually do, I'm going to switch pens for this gloaming pen for the um, for coloring. It allows me to get this kind of markerish, colored pencilish texture that I like for the color layers. And it also goes in because it's got that feeling. I can apply it very quickly. Um, I want to give the Myconid's body is a kind of color. I want them to be kind of off-white. Off-white's a tough color to pull off because um, because the harder the more color you put in, the more you pull it away from white. So it's usually a light color at a low density, and you leave the main parts white, and you just go for where the shadows would be. Mm-hmm. Like that. I think I want our pink capped guy to maybe have yellowish spots, and our red capped guy to have, I don't know, what goes with red? What goes with red? Oh, maybe orange? Yeah, those work. And of course, we're going to have a nice yellow tassel. I was voted most likely to spore. Dude. Maybe I should have the other guy saying, dude. Okay. Here we go. We'll have some other colors here. Let's come up. Yeah. All right. I'm going to shift things around. Whoa, that's not good. We want to shift everything at the same time, so I have to grab all the layers, and then they'll shift together. This is, I guess, kind of a look at the inside. When you're doing cartooning layout, you've got to figure out, you want things to be read in the right order, so you've got to place your word balloons so that they catch the eye um, in the order you want them to be caught in. All right, so let's come in here. No, I'll go back to my other pen. And this guy will say, sweet. If I could think of another fungal pun, I'd use that, but sweet. Nah. That's maybe a little over the top. Just dude. My initial thought, we'll stick with that. So now that I moved, so I moved everything around, so I could put uh, the first word balloon a little higher, and therefore I could put the other one in there, and you'd read them in order. Where the way it is laid out before, if I drop that word balloon anywhere else, it would have at best confusion about where it was supposed to go, what order they were supposed to be read in. All right, let's do this now. In a more carefully drawn comic, I would take some time to put more leaves in, but instead, what I'm going to do here is no. Now I'm having trouble finding the color I want to use, but I'm just going to put in a couple of different quickly added color splotches, and it's going to give the effect of being leafy. Then not quite so dark. I think that I will leave, talking about before, how I usually switch out the prompts every time. Once it's chosen, once it's selected, I take it off and replace it with something else for next week. I kept graduation day because it's suitable for this month, and probably this month alone. I will probably keep it again for next month, though really it's up to the dice whether or not it gets chosen. So this may not be the last graduation day drawing we see. I will switch out Mike and It's now that they've been chosen. They'll come back again because, as I say, I think they're funny and I think they're fun. Holy cats! Let's see. I looked down for a while and I missed. Lala showed up. Hello, Lala. All our collection of former Lita people here having some fun. All right, so there's our first drawing for the day. We've got to Mike and Ids on graduation day. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Thank you for stopping by, Marcus. It was great to see you. I'm really glad you could be here. I know that it's late. I know that it's late in Switzerland where you are. So sleep well, my friend, and I will talk to you soon. All right, so there we go. First drawing done. Nicely done. I hope everyone's having a good night out there. I'm glad that you all can chat with each other. I hope as this show goes along, this is the 9th episode of Random Encounters. I've done this kind of thing, a fair number of times before this, but this is the 9th episode in this weekly show, and there are parts of it that are feeling very natural, and parts of it that I still remembering to look up and see what's going on in the chat room. More difficult for me. I tend to get focused down here. I'm fine. When I did this kind of thing for the Olympics a couple of years ago, for a month I did a drawing each day with a random selection of a fantasy creature and an Olympic sport. I had no problem talking. Even though there's no one there, I didn't have a problem talking about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and various other things. And my streaming system then made it much more difficult for me to see what was going on in the chat room, so I didn't really worry about it very much. Now it's very easy for me to see what folks are saying in chat, which is terrific, but I don't remember to look up as often as I might, so I'm glad that you guys can entertain each other. Anyway, there we go. There's one drawing down. Let's move on from here. We'll now close out round one and open up round two and sketch, and we'll come back to turn off round one and then come back to our tables. And let's pick a second. Oh, thank you, Lala. Yeah, I feel I'm doing. I feel I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. But we want to improve, and I've identified this as one of my areas to try to improve a little bit over time. No rush. I'll get better and better, hopefully. Knock on plasterboard. Um, so, I'm trying to think if I have any business to talk about before we move on to another drawing. Um, yeah, I'm going. Oh, I am not going to be around on the 6th of July, 2 weeks from now. I I'm not going to be able to do a live stream then. I'm thinking about recording a show though to put up, so you may not have to have your entire Thursday evening schedules ruined just because I happen to be busy. Um, all right, we'll talk more about that next week, though. Till now, for now, now is the main thing. Now we're gonna come back and do another die roll. So let's see. Let's go once, twice, and third time's a charm, and number 6 is what we got, and I believe 6 is going to be adventurers. So let's wait and see what the what is, and then maybe you guys can help me figure out what kind of adventurer should be doing this thing. So let's go to the what. What? All right. Once, twice, and third time's a charm, and it's 2. And 2 is Rodeo Bull Rider. Okay, so boy, that I would have really loved to have the mic in it doing a Rodeo Bull Rider. That would have been a really terrific combination. Um, and I suppose I can. So adventurers, I put that in as a very broad topic because it's open for interpretation. Um, you folks in the chat, do you have any thoughts on what kind of adventurer you'd like to see doing a rodeo bull rider, being a rodeo bull rider? I picked that. I'm trying to come up with stuff that is uh, like graduation day. I want to do stuff that's a little timely, and so summertime in the U.S. is a time when things like carnivals and rodeos happen. And I thought, wow, rodeo bull rider is one I can put on here, and maybe it won't come up right away, but I can keep it on for a while, and all throughout the summer, this will be a really good one. Go gnome or go home, says Dale. Oh, you're talking my language. The juggling I did before in one of the very first week. Um, but I add, you know what? I had that as an edit on the unicycle. I had the vampire riding a unicycle and juggling. So juggling is a good suggestion. All right. Let's not think about this too much. Dive right back in. Have the right kind of pen, have the right kind of paper. So I have a Zoom meeting now, but watch and replay. Okay, thank you, Lala. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. It's always good to see you. Good luck on your Zoom meeting, and I will chat with you later. All right, so we have. Come on. That's one of those things that happens because I don't usually wear one of these hand gloves that a lot of the digital folks do. We have something so that it covers up the bottom part of your hand, so when I lay it on the touch screen that I'm writing on, it doesn't register. I don't mind these if I have to, but I really would rather not wear them. And the problem with that is that sometimes just touching the screen causes things to happen. And most often, what that is it inadvertently hits uh, undo. And so I find things that I drew either disappearing or uh, the the program jumping back a couple of steps, like it just did there. That's why the table showed up out of no reason. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna have. I'm trying to think about the classic Warner Brothers bull. Hmm. That, okay, that's a good. I don't. Not hugely satisfied with that. I think um, I say a lot of these things because I'm doing it so quickly. I go for whatever my basic instinct is on what something should look like. If I was going to do this for real, I do a little bit, at least a little bit of research. And then I say some cartoonists are really good at just kind of going with the picture it right in their head, all the thing they want to do. And I'm not quite as awesome when it comes to that. I need to put some reference lines down and figure out, oh, that's not really what I want. I don't need to draw out the whole thing, but okay. Let's go with that. Start with the bull. And one of the things I very often say, no matter what I'm doing, is when you're drawing, after you're done with the sketching, can be done in any order you like. You throw stuff down, you move it around. You're just trying to get your idea on paper. But once you're getting ready to start drawing the final piece, you want to start in an area that you are confident about. Which sometimes means that you start in a weird place. But what you want, the reason is that everything in a drawing builds on what's already there. So you want to start with something that you're confident about, so that you it's not going to change. Because as we saw with the sketching, as you figure things out, you'll realize that something is or isn't working. And you'll have to change other things because as one piece of the drawing changes, other pieces have to change with it. For example, this strap I'm drawing, if I wasn't sure that I wanted the body to be that shape, I couldn't put this strap in because it it wouldn't fit. If the body moved over, suddenly you'd have a strap sitting in a very strange place. Given the bull, I kind of thought about this in my head. I didn't say anything while I was doing it, but the idea of bulls, of course, have hooves, but sometimes, just for the sake of getting the gesture right, you don't want to stick with pure reality. This is some fantasy going on here. So I think that by giving the hooves toe-like qualities, I can get just a little bit better gesture. Okay, now I see the gnome is a little too. His limbs are a little longer than they should be. So I have to pull those in as I draw it. A gnome dressed up in rodeo gear. I don't know where he got cowboy boots in gnome sizes, but maybe gnomes are us. He's having a good time though, this gnome. Thank you. Big gnomish ears. Eyebrows that float above his head. He's having a good time. Yeehaw! I'm gonna change the bull's eyes. I wanted him to be looking up at. He's trying to get his gnome off his back. It's a tough angle to get the idea that he's looking up. Just got to pull him way out. And I can't get the bull to actually look up like this with those eyes. So I instead I pulled him way over to the side. That gives the idea that he's looking up, or as up as he can get. I wish I had come up with an idea for a gadget for the gnome to have, but it's just a really big hat. Boots and a big hat. Do just a little bit of background here. Go gnome or go home. I'm still laughing about that, Dale, in my head. Thought I'd let you know. Go gnome or go home. Okay. All right. Gnome on a bull. Hey, Steve Miller. Waving as you drive by. Well, wave right back to you as you drive by. Is everyone telling me that I should be picking a more convenient time to do this? Because no one can make it on. Well, Dale can make it, and that's not no one. But got a lot of people popping in, going, "I can only stay for a minute." Is making me think maybe I need to find a different time. Or, I mean, if the show becomes very popular, then do it more than once a week. All right. I'm sitting here, I'm stalling because I'm trying to think if I can come up with a good gag, and nothing is really coming to me. So we'll just add some color and accept the fact that a gnome riding a bull is maybe gag enough. And just add color in there. I don't know if you can see, but I'm um, changing the size of the brush a little to make it easier to fill large areas as opposed to small ones. A little darker. I want to make his kind of in a nod towards that the weird thing I did with his hoof. I'll just make his lower legs a um, little darker than the rest of his body. Give him some yellowish eyes to show that he's evil. Well, mean in any case. And our gnome having the time of his little gnomish life. Yee-haw. Fence. And dirt here. Maybe come back to our line layer and smaller lines for some detailed stuff, and make sure he's shaking a lot because, the bull's trying to get rid of him. I guess it's pretty good when I make myself laugh like that. I'm sitting here thinking what the gnome might be yelling, right? Instead of yeehaw, I gnomes usually are yelling Eureka. I'm not sure. Let me just write that down and see how it looks. I don't think that's really instead of Eureka. Mm, mm, hmm. Segaril? I guess maybe a little too much inside baseball. Let's see. Let's see. Dale, you're very insistent. But I suppose as we learned back at TSR and Wizards, you got to fight for the ideas you think are worth fighting for. This is drawing number 2, Lala. We've had a pretty fast evening. All right, let's. So, looking at the time, seeing that although we've had a fast evening, we're getting a little bit later. Let's wrap this one up. Here is our gnome rodeo bull rider. Da da ba ba da ba. The previous one, Lala, since you arrived late and have asked, previous one was Myconid, which is Mushroom People Graduation Day. That was our first one. Our second one, of course, is our Gnome Bull Rider. And let's quickly get in a third one. No more slowing down here, though, because we're now running up on the edge of an hour, and I don't want to keep people too long. So we will come back and we will go to our dice and say once, twice, third time is a charm. Number 5 is our who. Number 5. Oh, we had a Myconid. Maybe we'll repeat the Myconid, or maybe we'll do something else. Let's see what we get for our what. Once, twice, third time's a charm, and we also get a 5. And the 5 over here is a drum major. Drum major. I don't know. So let's see. So I don't know. What do you think? We got. I could do another mic, and like I said, I like them a lot. Or we could go with a suggestion from the crowd. We can use something from the bonus board, Spider-Man or Rockstar Cthulhu. Cthulhu was pretty popular last week, or any old thing. This is time that we throw it open to suggestions. But it's going to be a drum major. That's what the drawing is going to be. So I'm going to come and get set up here and start to think about it a little bit and give time for people to. I did it to myself. Yeah, well, no, the dice did it to me, Steve. I didn't do anything. It's the dice. I can't take any responsibility. It's the dice. The dice don't lie. Or so I've been told my entire gaming life. Let's see. A mind flayer. Okay, you got it, Dale. That's a good. It's kind of like a good midway point between a Myconid and Cthulhu. All right, we're gonna come in here, and again because no, I didn't turn it on. Okay, because we're running out of time, I'm not going to think about it too much. But okay, so here's the thing: you want to in cartooning, you want to be expressive. You want to exaggerate postures. That's what's funny. So we're going to come back here, and we want him to be stepping out like a drum major should. The big cat. Now this I think is going to be. I have to tell my my family about this. My nephews have in high school and college have been involved with the marching band, and several of them have been drum majors and or corps leaders, and I know that there were also phrases that I wasn't familiar with. because it's just not my. That was not part of my uh, high school experience. Okay, let's put him over here. See there, my hand touched it and it jumped back. Um, you know what? I don't know that I have time to. I guess we're just gonna have to stick to that. If I'm going to move it, we'll see. We'll see. Now I'm not making any sense. I'm not finishing my thoughts. So yes, we'll start with this. I was thinking that I would put a band back here, but if I'm trying to save, do this quickly and get it all done in as short time as possible, I should not start adding extra complicated um, other characters in. Okay, we're now on the lines layer. Okay, so again, we're going to start with lines I'm confident about. I'm very confident about these eyes. Yeah. The reason I said that there's a strong connection, or that this is halfway between a gnome and Cthulhu, is that mind flayers have these squid-like faces where they have tentacles covering their mouths. Okay, fill that up. For some reason, I'm finding time to add a lot more details in this one. Maybe it's because I really do want to keep drawing. Oh, I also am using a thinner pen, which, as I said earlier, that allows me to put more details in, but it also slows down the process a little bit. The larger pen allows for much quicker drawing. Okay. They also have long, reedy fingers. It's one of the classic signs of a mind flayer. They're very spindly, and I guess that's part of their octopoidal nature. I think everything about them is a little creepy and stretched out. Okay. It's got. I don't know whether to call these spats or what, but I decided he's got big cuffs on both his feet and his hands. And then you don't usually see mind flayers' feet, but I've decided that they have long, reedy toes to go along with their long, reedy fingers. Okay. It's looking pretty drum majory. Now, let's turn off our sketch layer and look at what we've got. Maybe add a few extra details. Since I'm working in this fine thin pen or brush anyway. In fact, we can give him nails or claws, depending on which end of them you're on. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's get some color on this. What do you say? Christopher Lott. Good to see you, Christopher. All right, so we got a mind flayer. They've got purplish skin. So we'll start with that. With a light color. Sallow. I think for when it comes to purple, this is they're both purple and pale. Okay. And then maybe we'll go red's a good drum major. Marching band uniform color. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? I'd say. I get to make the call, so guess that's all that really matters. Grayish pants, nothing too fancy. We're gonna do lapels in kind of a darker blood red. Okay. That's looking pretty good. quickly pick out some colors. Maybe that's another skill that I don't really think about much, but helps in doing these kinds of streams is very quickly selecting the colors that I want to do. Trying to decide whether I want his lapels to be white, and I think not. White just, while that's good for a normal drum major, not really good for a mind flayer drum major. Okay, and while we're here, let's add in a little extra shadow. I didn't add in the drum, the marching band behind him like I wanted to, but let's come in and just give him a little bit of added depth. And do this on. I do this sometimes when I'm feeling spunky. And I do this on full drawings just for these quick ones. All right, come here. Wonder what piece of music they'd be marching to. Okay. And then we will quickly just kind of maybe another couple of. There we go. A Mind Flayer drum major. And probably the quickest drawing of the night, too. How about that? All right, so we've had a pretty good day. It's been a good, successful random encounters, I think. We have a Mind Flayer drum major. You know what happens? Here's another thing I often do is I drop the opacity down a little bit just to make the colors be a little less intense. Get it to about 80% on this one, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Got maybe a little more. He was looking good with the intensity, 85% ish. We had a drum major mind flayer. We had a gnome bull rider. Oh yeah, come on, let's turn those colors down a little. 80%, 85%. Today seems like an 85% day. Okay, so we had a gnome bull rider, and we started off with Mike and Ed graduation day. They definitely need to turn that down a little. They're probably more like 80%. There we go. And that's what we did. That's what we did. That's how we had it. It's been a good Thursday evening. I think. I hope you do too. I want to thank everyone who showed up. Uh, Marianne, Lala, Dale, of course, my first in the door, number one fan. Chris, Steve Miller, other folks. I've seen that the viewer count has been higher than it usually is. So thank you if you've been watching, and hope you'll tune in again. Maybe join in the chat, make some suggestions. I'm noticing that all of the suggestions are coming that I'm reading are coming from YouTube, which tells me it's possible that the ones from Facebook are not coming through for some reason. So if you've been on Facebook and you've been saying something in the chat, I haven't been seeing it. I'm multi-streaming. I think I may have to say at the beginning of these things, given that this has happened before, that if you want to participate in the chat, probably coming to YouTube is the best way to do it. And while you're there, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. Uh, Interesting art things and sumo things going on my channel pretty frequently. And and I'll tell you the truth, I'm kind of stalled out on my subscribers. Not really moving the needle much there. I want to share with the world, man. I want to share with the world. So let's see. Let's come back here and come back to just me, just me. Again, thank you everyone for showing up. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I'll be back again next Thursday with another hour of live improv cartooning, another episode of Random Encounters Live. In the meanwhile, if you want to follow me and see what I'm up to, you can find me on Instagram under the username Stanix. Put pretty much um, all of my drawings that are okay for public consumption. Sometimes I'm working on stuff that's under NDA or is for a private client and I can't share it, but everything else winds up there. It's the best way to keep track of my drawings. Right now, my website, which I've had for a long time, the website actually is broken right now. I can't update it, and I've got to get around to fixing that. And just updating the website is in general, it's time for a refresh. But until that happens, Facebook and Instagram are the best places to find me. And if you really like everything I'm doing and you want to be a part of it, and you want to get updates from me and emails with medium to high resolution versions of all the drawings that I'm doing, and peeks behind the curtain that I don't put out publicly, then maybe you want to consider dropping by and joining my Patreon community. It's a lot of fun, and I'm trying to ump the fun even more going on. So patreon.com/Stanax is where you can find that. It said Instagram was instagram.com/Stanax. And I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate being able to hang out and chat with you. If you are the type of person that likes to draw, And who doesn't like to draw? In fact, I hope that I can encourage more people just to draw for the fun of it. I invite you to draw along with me, and if you're of a mind, send the picture or a scan of what you're drawing over. I'll share it with everyone else on the next show. In the meantime, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back next Thursday with more random encounters, and I'll be back tomorrow with the Sumo Show, our first anniversary celebration, which should be a lot of fun. That'll be 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the same channels you're watching me. So then, thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. Be well, everyone. Bye.